For millennia, people have been looking for ways to preserve their youthful appearance and function. Our real concern is not really with aging per se, but senescence. Aging is all the characteristics that occur in the body with the passage of time. That includes growth, development, increasing functional efficiency from childhood to adulthood, and the degenerative changes that occur later in life. In this section, we'll be considering senescence, which is the degeneration that occurs in organ systems after the age of their peak functional efficiency. This includes the gradual loss of reserve capacities, the reduced ability to repair damage and compensate for stress, and our increased susceptibility to disease. 1 in 9 Americans are 65 or older at this point in time, and most of our medical attention is on the prevention and treatment of the diseases of age or senescence. Personal health and fitness practices can certainly lessen the effects of senescence, so exercise and good diet is of penultimate importance. The senescence of one organ system is what typically leads to the senescence of other organ systems and eventually death. The organ systems do not degenerate at the same rate. Some will show moderate changes, while others show pronounced differences. In the next few slides, we'll be investigating senescence of the various systems. I'm not going to spend time lecturing on each of these different systems. However, do take a moment to read through each of them. We've covered them to some extent as we've explored each of the organ systems throughout the past 2 semesters. My preference will be now to go on and look at how do we avoid senescence, or how do we slow down senescence. Exercise is a great way for us to slow down senescence. Good nutrition and exercise together work best. Exercise improves our quality of life by providing endurance, strength, and joint mobility. It reduces the incidence and severity of hypertension and osteoporosis, obesity, and diabetes mellitus. A 90-year-old can even increase their muscle strength 3-fold in 6 months of exercise, doing 40 minutes of isometric exercise each week. That's it. That's very little investment for a healthier old age. Resistance exercise reduces bone fractures by stimulating uptake of calcium by the bones, while endurance exercise reduces body fat and increases our cardiac output as well as oxygen uptake. It's basically the theory of use it or lose it. We become less active as we age, and as we do, our organ systems degenerate. If we place demands on these organ systems, then they'll remain healthier for longer. If we have 3 to 5 20 to 60-minute periods of exercise each week and raise our heart rate to 60 to 90% of maximum, which is 220 beats per minute minus your age in years if we're going to do it the simple way, then we can see improved functionality of all the organ systems. Now, there are several theories of senescence. Why do our organs wear out, and why must we die? There's no general theory on this. The question actually comes down to 2 issues. What are the mechanisms that cause our organs to deteriorate with age? And why has natural selection not eliminated these and produced bodies capable of longer life? Senescence could be due to intrinsic processes, which are governed by inevitable or even programmed changes in cell function. Or it could be due to extrinsic or environmental factors that progressively damage our cells over a lifetime. And there's also a hereditary component to senescence. Sometimes people experience accelerated senescence. This is a condition called progeria. Now let's look into the theories of senescence a little bit. First of all, replicated senescence is a decline in mitotic potential with age, so cell division doesn't happen as easily as we age. Normal organ function depends on a rate of cell renewal to keep pace with the rate of cell death, and each cell has a limit to the number of times it can divide. Each chromosome is capped with a telomere. This is a sequence that diminishes with each cell division. The telomeres become shorter and shorter and shorter until eventually the chromosome content itself becomes destroyed with each cell division. And thus, the cells stop being able to divide. There's another theory called the cross-linking theory. About 1/4 of the body's protein is collagen. With age, the collagen molecules become cross-linked, making the fibers less soluble and stiff. Remember, collagen is the bendy protein. This causes stiffness in the joints and deterioration of the lenses and stiffness in the arteries. And so that's a theory that explains our loss in vision and our decrease in circulatory capacity, as well as the stiffness in our joints. Another theory centers around protein abnormalities. We see increasingly abnormal structure in older tissues and cells. The changes in protein shapes and the moieties that are attached to these proteins contribute to this abnormal structure, and cells accumulate more abnormal proteins with age, and thus the cells can die sooner. There's also a free radical theory. Free radicals have very destructive effects on the molecules. Antioxidants protect us from them, but antioxidant production by our own bodies becomes less abundant with old age. Generally, we become less active with old age, and it's activity and exercise that promotes our body's production of antioxidants that protect us from these free radicals. The molecules that are damaged by free radicals are long-lived and accumulate in the cell and continue to launch their destructive effects. Finally, there's an autoimmune theory. Altered macromolecules are recognized as foreign. This stimulates the lymphocytes to mount an immune response against the body's own tissues. These autoimmune diseases become more common with old age. Now, realistically, probably each of these theories contributes to our senescence. And as we look into each of these different theories of senescence, it becomes more and more evident that good diet and exercise are so important for our health as we age. If we set these practices in motion early in life, then we can continue them into our old age and live much more comfortably. Take a moment here to note down the different mechanisms of senescence. Don't forget to read through in general the things that happen to each of our systems as we move through life. But you won't be tested on each of them, and most of them are probably pretty self-explanatory, and we've addressed them as we've moved throughout the last 2 semesters.